Hello, scholars. Today it is going down because today we are going to understand that matter has measurable physical properties that determine how the matter is classified by looking at two things. Now, we remember that physical properties involve our five senses: what we can see, what we can taste, what we can smell, what we can feel, what we can hear. All of those things can be measured. I can say that something is quiet, or I can say that it's really loud. It doesn't matter. You can measure it. And we're going to be measuring two things today that I know that you're very acquainted with. We're going to be classifying objects based on, can we determine if they are a solid or a liquid? Now remember, classify, just like when you're in class in school, you're broken up into different groups, and we call those groups classes. To classify is just to break into groups. We break into groups for math, we break into groups for literacy, we break into groups for science, the best subject in the world. We break into groups for PE, for art, for music. We classify you based on the classification of what subject is being taught. The same way that we can do that at school, we can do that with matter, just like we've been saying. Now, what is a solid? A solid, this whole bag is full of solids. The whole entire bag is full of solids and other things if you're really paying attention. But we're just going to stay with the solids and the liquids for today. For example, this wheel is definitely a solid. How do I know that? How am I so sure that this is a solid? If you had to describe it to somebody, would you be able to do that? I think that you can. And if you're struggling just a little bit, you definitely will be able to do it by the end of the day. This is a solid. This plastic spoon, this spoon that we eat our cereal with, this spoon that sometimes mom will take and get us over the back of the head, this spoon is a solid. Not only that, but it can change materials. The plastic spoon is a solid. The metal spoon is a solid. They're both solids. And we can go on and on and on. This foil is a solid. This wooden popsicle stick is a solid. So what is a solid? How can all of these things be classified as a solid? Wait, I'm going to tell you. Solids are rigid. They have what we call a definite shape, meaning that their shape does not change. This popsicle stick stays as a popsicle stick. I can twist it, I can turn it. It's not malleable, it's not going to bend. And if I do bend it too much, you already know what's going to happen. It's going to break because it has a fixed shape, But not only does it have a fixed shape, but it has a fixed volume. Now, who can tell me what volume is? I know you remember from last time. Tell me. Volume is the amount of space that a substance or object occupies. So this popsicle stick occupies the same. It doesn't change. It's not moving all over the place. It's going to stay a popsicle stick unless there is a chemical change that changes it away from a popsicle stick, or I can make a physical change and break it in half, but it's still a popsicle stick and it is still a solid. It does not change. And all of these have the exact same characteristics as solids. The wheel, you see that it's circular. It's going to stay circular. It's solid. It's going to stay a solid. It has a hole in the center. That hole is going to stay in the center because it's a solid and it has a fixed shape. But there are not only solids. You can look around your room right now, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are surrounded by solids. Oh my gosh, you are made of solids. My finger is solid. My bow tie is solid. My glasses are solid. It's all solids. We are all, this button is a solid. It's all solid. I want you to look around right now and find 3 solids wherever you're at. 3 solids, just 3. 1, 2, 3. Just like my 3 solid fingers, I want you to find 3 solids somewhere around you. Why? Because the whole world is made of matter, and one of the most definite forms of matter are solids, but it's not the only form of matter. There are others. And what was the other one that we talked about earlier? The liquids. Scholars, what is a liquid? And what is the difference between a solid and a liquid? I'm glad you asked. I will tell you. Within this water bottle is a liquid that we call water. Now I want you to notice that the bottle is a solid. It's not changing. But on the inside, the liquid is changing. It's moving around because it does not have a fixed shape. In fact, I can take it and pour it straight into my mouth because it is a liquid. Liquids are not rigid. If I bend this, it's going to snap. When I take my water, it can move all around because it's not rigid, because it does not have a fixed shape. That is one of the characteristics that you can always go to for a liquid. A liquid is not rigid and it does not have a fixed shape. But get this, a liquid does, just like a solid, it has a fixed volume. The amount of space that this water takes up does not change. It doesn't matter if I have it in this container. It doesn't matter if I pour it in this container. It doesn't matter if I get my soap, my Dial liquid soap. The Dial liquid soap that's on the inside of here will be 7.5 fluid ounces no matter what container I put it in. And liquids are everywhere as well. This disinfectant cleaner is a liquid. In this container, there are, oh my goodness, it doesn't even say the amount, but there is a certain amount of ounces of liquid in this container, and that's not going to change. If I pour this into here, it's going to be the same amount of liquid because the volume of liquids is fixed. So what do liquids and solids have in common? That's a question for you. What do they have different? That's a question for you. What in the world and where in the world are the liquids in my house right now? Like wherever you're at right now, what liquids are you surrounded by? It's a very, 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 very interesting topic. I really believe you should go on a liquid and solid scavenger hunt to just see where in the world are the liquids and the solids. So for our closing activity today, what do I want you to do? In your journal, whether your journal is digital, whether your journal is on paper, whether your journal is however you are being told to do it, I want you to list the characteristics of solids and liquids. I want you to list the characteristics of solids and liquids, and I want you to do that in complete sentences. And for those of you that are really going to take the next step, do I look cool? Do I look cool? Yeah, I got the book. Okay, I'm sorry. Distraction. For those of you that are really going to take the next step, not only list the characteristics of solids and liquids, but can you tell me what they have in common? What characteristics do they share in common? What characteristics are different? What characteristics do they share? What characteristics are different? I know y'all got this because y'all are amazing. Y'all are scholars. Y'all are geniuses. And you guys have now grown in knowledge of solids and liquids. We'll be back on with more soon.